Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to another electrifying Family Circle show. My name is Shirley Murphy, your host, and I am so thrilled to be back for season 2 of Family Circle. I won't be doing this alone, as always. And with me is my beautiful sister, a Black beauty, African queen. Her smiles are always on point. So join me and welcome our co-host, Keziah Sumasi. Hello, Keziah.
Hi, ma'am.
All right, happy to have
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Happy to have you on this ride with me. And today, together, we'll delve deeper into the heart of what truly matters, which is family. I mean, in a world where distractions abound and priorities seems to shift, the only thing that really matters, that remains constant, is family. And therefore, last season, we explored the significance of family with different interesting topics, but our journey did not just end there. So join us as we go on live discussions, interviews, interactive segments that provide valuable insights and practical tips to strengthening family bonds. Together, myself and Keziah, and of course, our wonderful guests that we'll be having on the show weekly, will get us into moments where we'll learn. We're going to be moments where we'll laugh, we'll cry, and of course, celebrate the beauty of what family life is. So, this moment, the most important thing, like I mentioned earlier, is the relationship that we have with our families that makes us feel special. A loving a relationship that we have shared, the values, the commitments that makes us feel loved, feel confident, and of course, connected with the people that matters in our life. So right now, we'll introduce our guests, and Keziah, over to you for that.
Thank you very much, Madam Shirley. I'm super excited because when I look at the profile, the bio of our guest today, I know we're going to learn so much. Is a renowned international keynote speaker, an author, and a distinguished global influencer. She is a social entrepreneur and a multi-award-winning life and business coach. With a strong commitment to youth empowerment, Dr. Enolia has been recognized for exceptional contribution on the global stage. Dr. Enolia is a co-founder of various ventures, including Easy Step Group Management Consulting, that's in UK, TRE, that's TRE Global Namibia, Jovan International South Africa, We Champions International South Africa, and Fabi Unite Television, that is in USA. She also serves as the Global Affairs Director for Youth Think Indigo, a prominent think tank in the USA. Notably, she holds a position of Global Director for Vision Africa Development based in Zambia. Furthermore, she is the CEO and founder of Enolia Incorporated USA and the co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of Expressions of Humanity Foundation, which is also in the USA. The foundation provides emergency humanitarian aid and promotes global activism and life skills training to underserved communities. Dr. Enolia leverages the power of education, media, and technology to facilitate accessible knowledge exchange and foster cultural understanding across the globe. I am super excited to host her today. So over to you, my co-host.
Yeah. Enolia's profile is actually very rich. Yeah, it's very rich because I decided to, just reduce that. If we are to read, an entire profile, I don't think, we'll, we'll leave here right on time. So, well, Enolia, good to have you on the show with us.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure it is to be here with you. And thank you so much for the invitation. I truly appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So now we've heard, some part of you, but for today's show, and of course, why we are here, we'd like that you tell us more about yourself, particularly your love journey, Enolia.
So I was born and raised in New York City and Queens. And I went to school at University of Massachusetts in Amherst. And it was probably my sophomore year, I met the person that I was going to marry, and I didn't know it. So here it comes, senior year, and we start going out. And a year later, we got engaged. And 2 months after I finished college, I was married at the age of 21 years old. That journey was for 30 years. 30 years, two beautiful boys later, who are now 30 and 27 years old. And it's funny how life changes and life takes a turn. So we chose not to stay together. And in that journey, and I know that a lot of women find themselves on that journey also, it's like I had to rediscover who I was and rediscover what I cared about and what I could contribute to the world. And so it was about 3 years later that I met my next partner in life. And we've been together for 6 years. And I am here in Africa, Angola, where my life took a complete turn, and I now live in Angola. And I live in Africa, and I live in a totally different culture, a totally different language. Mm-hmm. And I have a family that I love and embrace and cherish. And I've gone through initiations to be with my current spouse. And wow, if you would have ever told me that's how life would have taken me, I never would have believed it. So
awesome. Well, that's life. And of course, none of us knows what the future holds. You just know that you're taking life one step at a time, following your instinct and all of that. And it's wonderful, I would say, how, the journey has gone for you so far. And I'm happy with the fact that right now, where you are happy, because that's very key. In whatever you're doing, and of course, with whoever you are, you find happiness. And I'm also happy about the fact that you're in Africa and you seem to be very, very happy. Like somebody asked me and said, are you from Africa? I said, no, you are not, but you happen to find yourself, down here, and you seem to be very comfortable. So, and I'm happy.
Actually, I am home. I love Africa. Africa was calling me since I was a little girl, and so I feel like it was a return to home. Wow. And that the comfort level and looking at people that look like me, and just are me and seeing the beauty in everyone. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm home. I'm home.
Welcome home. And you're not home finally, because like I heard you saying that your name sounds Nigerian. So it's we are still waiting to welcome you back home.
Yes. Because my father, I found out through DNA tests actually, but My father was Nigerian and my mother was Kenyan, the Luya tribe. So yeah, when I touch base in Abuja, yes.
All right. Okay, because I have a question for you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Enolia. As a licensed psychosocial counselor, your story really resonates with me because I've come to realize that some people can be part of our life stories, but they are not supposed to be in our life stories. So I really understand. In your own opinion, in your worldview, what do you think it would take a partner in love to become more intentional about their love life, or why you believe it's important? Why do you think it's important that we love intentionally?
So let's define what love is. Love is so many different things to different people, you know? And I think that love has many dimensions. So, at first thought, you think physical love, physical attraction. And maybe at second thought, you think emotional love and emotional attraction. But love unconditionally is that I love intellectually stimulating, having an intellectual stimulating conversation with my partner. I love when we prepare food that there is something that is taking place that's a synergy between us, between preparing and eating and the artistry of that food. I love when we are connected together and we're going to engage in an activity together, whether it's sports, whether it's art, whether it's culture, no matter what it is, right? We're partaking in an activity that we both love or that one loves and the other one is learning to appreciate. So first, in understanding that you can love on many levels and that is not just one type of love is important. And then the second thing is that to understand that we can be connected in so many different ways. And then the beauty of that and the appreciation of that. And then also understanding that love doesn't have to be all consuming, that you meet in the middle and that there's a balance between the love. Because when you consume someone, no one wants to be consumed. And I emphasize that the love is not jealous, love is not insecure. Because when someone has committed to you, that they share a love of you and for you, it is not necessary for you to be all consuming in that love because it's been committed to you. We walk a path side by side because we care about one another. We walk a path side by side because we are committed to one another. And there's a balance of that love with the freedom to love when we make that commitment. And I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yes. Well, it answers the questions, and the part when you talk about feeling consumed, in the love, a relationship with our partners, and that kind of gets to me because I've seen a lot of couples, and of course a lot of stories when it comes to how we should love each other and of course invest in more in our love lives with our partners. And so many times there are misconceptions about these things, and the area where you talk about feeling consumed comes in when you feel like you're giving in so much, this thing is draining you, the other person is not giving as much as you are giving, and of course you feel drained. In your own opinion, what other common misconceptions do you think people have when it comes to investing in their love life intentionally? Like, the word there is being very intense. You understand that there are so many things that can make us want to, do whatever we want to do, or make the other person feel like, oh, don't you see me? Like, I don't know how, whether those in advanced world have understand love differently from those of us in Africa, and especially our women, who kind of feel so much consumed in this journey. So, but I want to hear from you, from your perspective, what do you think are some common misconceptions people have when it comes to this?
Well, see, for me, we have to go back to our own culture because we only know what love is based on what we've observed, right? So if you have been taught and you've observed that love means preparing the meal, cooking the meal, making sure all of the work is done, and you're defining that as love, then that's what you believe love is, right? If you are watching a couple and they're holding hands and they're affectionate and, they're giving and they're this and that, then you believe that that's what love is. So we learn what love is based on how we receive it. We learn what love is based on what we've observed as we grow up. And when you are investing in your intentional love, really what you need to understand is that because love has many dimensions, what is the foundation that love sits on? And to me, the foundation that love sits on is communication. We have many miscommunications with love. If your man believes that love is cooking the meals and taking care of the house and taking care of the children, and he brings home the money and he takes care of your needs and he gives that to you and he goes, well, I love you, I did those things. And the woman is looking for emotional connection. She's looking for intimacy. She's looking for just affection. She's looking to have a conversation. There's a miscommunication.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the misconceptions. And women, as a woman, we need emotional connection. All people need affection.
Mm-hmm.
Affection is important, but we associate affection with the emotional connection. I'm happy, I need a hug. I'm sad, I want to be held. I just made a great achievement, come join me, share in this achievement, share in my joy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so if you have a man who goes, well, that doesn't have anything to do with cooking my food and putting a roof over your head and everything else, I don't want to be bothered with that, then there's a misconception and a miscommunication. And I share these particular examples because I'm here in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I see and I observe it.
Yes, what's going on over here? Like, truly talking about understanding what love is based on what you have seen, growing up. In fact, actually, that is just what it is over here, I would say, because you find out that, particularly in the side of the men now, they say, yeah, I grew up seeing my mom, going to farm, waking up early, 5 a.m., going to the farm, coming back, cooking food, doing all the work like a jack, somebody that don't get tired, working all through, and of course at night, she also do the room service and all of that. And that is what he believes love is all about. Like, if you love me as my wife, you're supposed to break down. I must use that.
Right.
Break down.
Right.
Let the whole world, let the community see that, yes, this woman is in love with her husband. That's why she's going all about, putting herself, draining herself, and just getting out of her way to just get herself drained. But truly.
But Madam Shirley, you have to know that, I had the opportunity to talk to Angolan men about this. I was coming from Melange back to Luanda, and I got in a cab, and I was the only woman in the cab, and it was like 15 men. And I was smiling, and they said, "Why are you smiling?" And I said, "Because I'm happy." And they're like, "You're not Angolan." And I said, excuse me, you're not Angolan because you're smiling and there's nothing but men here. An Angolan woman would hold her head down and not look at anyone and not say a word. And I was like, well, why would she do that? And she said, well, he said, Angolan women aren't happy. And I'm like, why aren't they happy? You know, I don't know. I have a wife. I put a roof over her head, food in her mouth, and she always complains. And I said, well, how do you speak with her? What do you mean, how do I speak with her? Well, how do you speak with her? How do you engage with her? Does she get to work? Well, she's in the house. And so what this eventually led to was that I found out that they, meaning the men, have only been taught that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so they didn't know what love was. I said, if you sat down and talked to your wife, because he said she was unappreciative, right? I give her money and she's unappreciative. When I don't have it, I don't have it. I said, did you explain that you have a budget? Do you explain that a certain amount of bills come out of that budget? Mm-hmm. And then when you don't pay those, when you've paid all the bills and you can't afford but so much, that's why you don't have enough. And not that just, no, she can't have it. Well, no, I've never done that. Well, then how would you expect her to react except that she wants something, you're not getting it. You're not giving it to her. And that's all she knows, right? Where is the communication?
It's not there.
Where is it? It's not there at all.
Because
right?
the issue of communication makes me to remember when we're growing up. Of course, these are things our grandparents, we had our forefathers used to do. Like when it's time, when it's in the night, the man will just tell the wife, "Oh, yeah, climb the bed." No communication. There's nothing. There's nothing at all. Just climb the bed, remove your whatever, and let's get to the action. And just like that. So
right.
And it's odd. And you see that the children grow up learning that as well.
But and what's also sad, Shirley, that I want to share too, is that group of men, one of them was like, I married for love. I married for love. And he was criticized and he was shunned, and because his wife wasn't chosen for him. And so because he picked his own wife, it was like, no. You've disregarded the family, and therefore you've disregarded everything. I'm not going to have anything to do with you. And he stood his ground. So when we talk about understanding what love means, it's not even just between the couple, because sometimes the environment, the traditions, and the society goes against everything for what that definition is between the man and the woman who are trying to come together and want to be together.
Absolutely.
And it's bad.
Because what's your view on this before we go move on?
Being quiet and listening to both of you. You see, paradigms. A lot of people have picked paradigms concerning marriages that are very wrong. And because we saw those things happening in our homes, that is all we know about marriage. Unfortunately, these people grow up. Some even get so educated, and still those paradigms do not change. So you find a well-educated man who will still expect his woman to bend down, squat, kneel down to speak to him. It is culture. It is his tradition, whether the woman is pregnant or not. And until we get back to the paradigms, and that's why my next question will come in. At a point, we would have to get the awareness that it doesn't matter all the marriages I saw growing up. It doesn't matter the love and the marriages I see around me. This is how I want my home to be. And because of that, I have to be intentional. I have to let go of all these behaviors and really learn, such that I'll be able to communicate properly. To the African man, when you are vocal, it's either you are disrespectful. And today, a lot of women are not marrying just like our grandmothers did. Many women are equally paying bills. So many of the things that pushed women to stay in marriages do not wash. So if we are not intentional about marriages and get the awareness that we need to grow up, a lot of marriages will just put the public facade that they are in relationships, and yet the relationship is not glorifying to God. Both couples are not enjoying anything out. So my next question to you, Doc, is, in your own experience, what role does self-awareness play in intentionally investing into one's life?
So in my own experience, before I got married, and even at the age of 21 years old, I sat my would-be husband, soon-to-be husband, down. And I talked to him about all the things I wanted to do, whether I was married or not. All the activities I wanted to do, how I wanted to grow, what I wanted to be, and that if he could not handle this, then I was not the woman for him to marry.
Precisely.
And I really stuck to my guns. And that conversation was a 3-4 hour conversation, because the aspirations, the dreams, and the things that I wanted to do, I really meant, and I wanted to work. I was not going to be, he had a choice. They said, if I'm working at home, or if he wanted me to be home, then don't expect anything else of me. If I'm working at work, don't expect me to do it at home. I'm not Superwoman, and I'm not doing both. So which would you like it to be? And so I ended up working in my career, and we got someone to come in and take care of the other needs of the household, because we try to be Superwoman, especially in the US. Okay,
no, it's
we're
not
going to
in
go
the US.
work
Africa
40 hours,
US.
80 hours.
It's worse.
Africa is worse.
It's crazy, and I lived that. I did that. I worked from 8 to 5, came home, cooked, took care of the kids, put them to bed, and doubled back to work from 9 p.m. to midnight, came home at midnight, slept, and started all over again. Because what the West does to you is they're like, oh, you can be Superwoman. Yeah, you can work, you can do everything. And that's why my emphasis is on balance. It's on balance, because respect for all of the women who stay home, cook, clean, and everything else. That is a full-time job.
Yeah.
It is a full-time job, and it is a hard job. It is not an easy job, and especially when you have a lot of children.
Yeah.
It quadruples. And so,
sorry.
And so, trying to find the balance. And, I left corporate because it was killing me. It was impacting my physical health. I took an early retirement because I wasn't working, living to work. I was working to live. And so I had to shift that paradigm. So what you said is very, very valid, Lady Keziah. Very valid.
Yeah, Doc, something just came to mind. If communication is not properly done in marriages, our souls would just break. Whilst he's speaking, I just remember, even many couples, even outside, whether developed country or Africa, when they start having children and the man feels like, I can work and take care of the family financially, so you be a stay-at-home man. It wasn't until recently that many people have found a way that even when they are home, they could still earn more than their husbands who go out there to work. So the man feels that financially he's doing everything. And it makes these men think and feel that their wives are not providing anything. But if you really sit down and analyze the work that these wives would have to do with the children, they would have paid so much money, but they don't consider that. Just because they never discussed, there was no communication as to what everybody's role, what they are playing. So the man thought once he's bringing in the money, it means he's doing every other thing. Whereby the woman's contribution, if you were to monetize it, would have been huge. So what advice will you give to couples when they are supposed to have these difficult and yet necessary conversations?
What you don't realize is what you said was so powerful, because the men don't realize that when a woman is able to monetize, it relieves the stress of the man. He's panicking, saying, I'm not making enough. I have all of these mouths to feed. I have clothes to provide. I have this, I have that. And when you learn how to work together and you learn and mutually respect what you both do together, It relieves the stress of the overall relationship so that you are in it together, you're working together. The traditional roles of what I'm supposed to do, what you're supposed to do, don't work for us. And there's nothing wrong with traversing that and changing it to what works for us. Each person, if they don't learn anything from this broadcast, they should learn that if you communicate and you work together, you create your own framework of what works. Sure. And when you create your own framework of what works, then you relieve the stresses you both have and the contention between the two of you. And then you're communicating, well, this isn't working for me, or, you know, we need to bring in somebody to watch the kids for this, this, and this, so that I can work this night or work a few nights. And that relieves the stress of you thinking that you have to meet this monetary goal and you can't make it. You know, you work together. You know, I don't know when it was when I think colonization brought it in, okay, that this has to meet my territory. Nobody can, you know, infiltrate my territory. Mm-hmm. It's gotta be this way, right? And it wasn't always this way. Right. It wasn't. We're stronger together. Yeah. For some reason, this divisive, you know, divide and conquer attitude comes in and is actually established in our relationship. Because when you bring everyone together, even if you brought all of the family together, instead of the family going off and doing this and off and doing that, if everyone contributed and everyone worked and everyone brought it in so that everyone was able to do the things that they wanted to do, mm-hmm. nobody would have to suffer. Yes. Right? But we kind of divide and conquer. Oh, he can't work. He's only this age, or he can't do that. She's only this. She can't do that. It has to be mom and dad. It has to be just mom. You know, I remember meeting a woman. She was like, I'm having so much trouble with my son. You know, he's not working. He's drinking too much. And I'm like, oh my God, how old is he? 15, 16, no, 26. Are you kidding me? 26 years old, you're a grown man. What value system has this boy been taught that he feels so comfortable to let go of his job and depend on his mom, who was a single mother? Wow. You know, so we've got to shift the paradigm. We have to shift the paradigm in order for there to be a successful relationship and a successful family unit. It's all of us coming together and cherishing every role in it. Not, I get to step on mom in order to advance. We don't need to belittle, we don't need to demean, and we don't need to step on. We need to sit in circle and realize that no one's above us, no one's below us, no one's in front of us, no one's behind us. We all sit in a circle, we all want to win, we all want to prosper, we all want to expand, we all want to grow. And when we start this together, ourselves, and we can grow as a family unit.
Right. What to you, Madam Shelley?
Yes, thank you so very much, Dr. Enolia. In fact, you have said it all. Family is, you know, coming together as one and not, you know, all of the things that we see in different families, in different homes. You know, like you talk about the divide. Why should anything come in to divide us when we are supposed to work together as one? Like I was chipping in about when you hear cases like, this is my money, that's her money, this is my this is her that. But we're supposed to be one. The Bible says you come together to become one. So what happened? Where did, you know, I don't know, is it society? Is it family? And that also takes us back to the things we saw when we were growing up from our parents, the things that we're doing. And today's world, everything, the civilization, the internet world, everything has changed the dynamics in families. and making a lot of people want to be independent on their own. And like Keziah mentioned, the women are now the ones, running everything, running the home when it comes to, the finances and all of that. And these days, there's no man that wants a woman that will just come across her legs anymore and say, I'm a full-time mom. Nobody wants that anymore. And that also puts a lot of pressure also on the women. Where do couples strike a balance between trying to invest and remain in love with their partner and other important aspects of life, like getting a career, growing personally and all of that? Because there's a lot of conflict, I would say, when it comes to all of these things. And you find out that, in fact, I remember when I was very young, I wasn't even married then. I had a friend where I was working then that told me that she had aspirations, she had dreams. She wanted to become this, wanted to do this in life, but immediately she got married, all of that stopped. And like, she doesn't even have that plan any longer. In fact, she doesn't know where that is gonna come in. And she was like advising me, said, Shirley, before you get married, make sure, if you have to go to school, make sure you do all of that. If to enjoy your life, we have to do this, we have to do that. Make sure, you live your life well before you get married. And I wonder, why should that be? Why should I stop growing? Why should I stop becoming? Because I'm now married. What's your view? I think I'll just allow you to, shed a little on that, Emily.
What makes a relationship balanced to me are two things: love and freedom, right? If you're all consuming in love and you're not in that middle balance where you feel love, but you don't feel consumed, or you feel love and you don't feel neglected, right? That's the balance, right? I am in love. I feel love. I can give love. The freedom piece is that if I feel like I have no freedom and all I can do is this, I feel overwhelmed and consumed also, because it's like, I can't breathe. I feel oppressed. I'm stuck. But then if I don't feel like if I have too much freedom, well, do you love me? Do you care? I'm doing this, this, and this. Are you there? Hello? Or don't you care about what's going on? So to me, that happy medium between love and freedom is where you start. That, with an overview of communication, has to take place. This is what we have to balance in our relationship. And again, it starts, to me, with the conversation. You have two young people growing up. But if you don't grow up having a conversation and saying, here's what I need, hold the fort down. Hey, I can hold the fort down. You go ahead. That's what you need. And we go back and forth and we balance it. And I can grow and you can grow and we can grow. And I can grow and you can grow and we can grow. But see, here's the other piece of this. The relationship has to be strong enough to weather outside influences. The example that you gave, I've met couples who said, I don't want any children right away. I just want to be with my husband. But the family called a meeting on me and everybody pressured. And if I don't have a child right away, then I'm disowned from the family. And this is real. And so the couple has to make a choice. Do I abide by my family or don't I? And we, or the younger people, have to weather some of these projected expectations so that they can break the cycle. And that cycle is the couple decides what they want between the two of them, period. It's hard to expect a couple to grow when you have outside circumstances saying this is what it's got to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the only way we'll accept you. If it doesn't look like this, we won't have anything to do with you. So where do you strike a balance? The balance is in the relationship, and then the balance is standing your ground in your truth.
Mm.
And weathering the fact that you might be the cycle breaker. You know, I'm going to go back to when I talked to those men. And I want you to know, by the time we finished that conversation, they're like, Dr. Inoli, come talk to our elders in the village. And I'm like, why are you saying that? Why are you calling me Dr. Inoli? I wasn't a doctor at the time, because we've never had anyone talk to us like this. And if they just understood, then maybe we'd have a chance and it would be different. And I said, well, I don't know that I can change those attitudes, but my question to him was, what will you do? And he goes, well, what do you mean, what will I do? I said, you become the next elder.
Mm.
Are you going to perpetuate the same circumstances that were handed to you? What will you do? And so even if out of those 13 to 15 men, 2 or 3 of them change their heart right at that moment, then that's ripple effect.
Yeah.
That's the beginning.
Awesome.
And so what we have to do is, we who might have a more open view or a different view, we have to have those conversations, whether it's men's empowerment, women's empowerment, couples empowerment. The conversation needs to be had. And I think that is what's missing.
Yes, thank you. In fact, talking about men's empowerment, I think it's high time, because we've heard again and again when men are asking, why is it always women empowerment, women empowerment? That's why women become better partners, I would say, in relationships, because women are given a lot of opportunities to learn more, because based on what, compared to what we had, back in our forefathers' time, where women are not given opportunity to learn and become and all of that. And now I think we have taken women above and beyond, giving them all that they need, even though we still have a lot that are still struggling. But I think it's high time we also begin to look into men empowerment. Because
you're absolutely right. And it's the men seeing a different point of view. We as women have a superpower, and our power is gestation. We are able to gestate a child, right? So we can take ideas, because we know how to physically do it. We can take ideas, mold them, shape them, create them, and then birth them out to the open. Men have to learn this. They have to learn this. They can only mimic what we do. They can only see what we do. They can only get an idea of what they do it in business, Well, you have to look at the ideal relationship, and you have to hold that ideal, and you have to give birth to something beautiful, not something standard or expected, but beautiful. And that comes with taking in all aspects of understanding that love comes at many levels.
Yeah.
And many dimensions.
Absolutely. Keziah, right to you.
Wow, that was so good. So good. Love has many subtleties, but people get married and they assume that whatever they had is supposed to sustain them throughout, which I don't subscribe to that. We would have to mature, we would have to grow. I mean, you said you've given advice, you've given every other thing. If there's something I would want you to conclude with, I would want you to share what's common things that people who are struggling in their relationships could start if they chance upon this video and they take the resolute decision to make amends. What things would you recommend for them to start with?
So, we understand that we are attracted to a person. We understand that we love. We understand that we build a relationship. We build a family. We build our materialistic resources in order to survive and whatnot. And I'm going to say this with all my heart, going to those people who are now existing in a relationship, and existing meaning that the love is gone. And you don't know how to get out. And you're going, is this it? and you haven't seen your partner in how long. We have this idea that we have to belittle, demean, or place blame in order to basically just say we've grown apart. And I'm going to use myself as the example. I was married for 30 years, but when my husband and I decided to get divorced, we did not belittle each other. We did not demean each other. We did not place blame on why it fell apart. We just understood and we both accepted that he deserved happiness, I deserved happiness, and we weren't making each other happy. And if you have two mature people that basically can honor the fact that if we're not making each other happy, then why don't we take care of one another to allow us to go on our own paths? That there doesn't have to be abuse, there doesn't have to be fighting, there doesn't have to be any of that stuff, because we're humans, we're human beings, and sometimes we grow apart. And that which we were attracted to, if it's not there, don't look at the partner where you have to hurt them in order to leave. It will hurt to leave, but you don't have to belittle, demean, place blame, and do what you think is expected for you to do in order to say, we're growing apart and we should try to figure out what makes us happy. And we know that being together doesn't make us happy. And if that's the case, let's honor one another, which mutually respect one another, and let's go our separate ways. And by the way, you were my wife for 20 years. I'm not going to just throw you or toss you away. I'm going to make sure that you're supported until you can support yourself. But we have this idea that when we grow apart, and sometimes it happens, and a lot of times it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, that we have to just toss the person aside, and that's not the case. That is not the case. So I would leave with couples that if you are empowered as a man or a woman, then step up to the plate and take care of each other even when you're apart.
Take care of
and
each
not
other.
just when you're.
Yes.
That's great.
Take care of each other. Yes.
That's so great. There's a question, if I don't ask you, I won't let you go.
Yes, it's okay.
But I mean, I'm so excited. I would have to sit back and watch so I can equally learn here. You know, I used to hate divorce with a passion until I started working with married couples. And my paradigm, my worldview, my beliefs, everything has changed. And I tell people, the fact that you can't be together doesn't make you bad people.
Yes.
Some people cannot just be together. And it's about time that even as Africans, we began having these difficult and yet necessary conversations.
It's difficult for us here.
I went to cut somebody's wedding cake, and the lady said, tell my husband, thank you for marrying me. And I said, honey, wait. When I visit you on your 10th, 20th, and 30th wedding anniversary, then I can thank your husband on your behalf. You see, getting married is not the issue, but staying married. And my question is, what would it profit me to stay in a marriage where there's abuse, neglect, indifference, microaggression, and I'm celebrating the years I am in there, 25, 35, whereby my soul is bleeding? What use would that be? So thank you for this knowledge, this wisdom you have shared. But my final question to you is, what is your favorite food? What is your favorite
Before I answer this,
food?
one story.
And do you know how to prepare that favorite food? Or you just like it?
Yes. Okay. But before I answer this, because you said some powerful things, and let me just make one comment about that, because it's really, really important what you said. Okay. I attended a friend's wedding, and it was 6 months to 8 months after I attended this friend's wedding that she confided in me that she had made a mistake. That The abusive tendencies were already being seen. And I asked her, okay, so why aren't you preparing yourself to leave? And she said, but I'm embarrassed. I just had the wedding. I just got married. People gave us gifts, blah, 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 right? But the advice that I shared with her is that those people aren't rolling over to the abuse. You are.
Yeah.
Who cares what anybody else thinks?
Yeah.
Who cares what anybody else says? Your well-being is at stake, and you're telling me that you're putting your well-being on the line because you're worried about what somebody might say? They're going to talk no matter what takes place. Whether they see you being abused, they're going to talk. Or whether they see you walk away, they're going to talk. So let's just move the talking aside and understand what is best for you and find your most courageous woman inside right now, right here, right now, while I'm talking to you, to say, is your well-being and the value of who you believe you are there? Because if you value yourself, this conversation's over and you're going to do what you need to do. And God bless her, she did. So the statement is that when someone is facing abuse, 9 out of 10, they're going to go to somebody and they're going to talk about it. Or somebody has insight into it and they have the opportunity to bring the best and the most courageous person out of that person, urging them to step into what they need to in order to part and not take the abuse.
Yeah.
And so my statement is to those of the people who are giving that advice, please stop telling women to stay. Please stop putting materialistic things as, well, you get this, this, and this out of the marriage, so just deal with the abuse. We've got to stop doing that. And we've got to start valuing what we bring to the table, even in our friendships.
Yes. I think the discussion about divorce is going to be another interesting one as we have that letter. That's because of our time. Tell us your best food.
Yes, I'm so sorry. And my favorite food is cake. And I love cake.
What did you just say?
Did you say cake?
I said cake, and I love baking, and I love designing, and I can make shapes, and I can make faces and everything with different cakes, and it's like artwork, and it's fun.
No. Just
do accept this.
Relax.
I don't actually.
Cake. No. Let me tell you something. This lady you're saying she's 60. Yeah, she should be 61 this year.
I'm 60, I'll be 61 this year.
Yeah, are you telling me you're eating, you can eat cake all day long? Like, no, because,
I could.
You know, when
I love
aging, like,
I love cake.
You love cakes? Wow. That's interesting. That's so interesting. Thank you so very much. Like, I know that even for us that we are not, close to your age, we are trying to run away from, all those cakes, all those things that will make us, big, make us fat. There's a lot of sugar. There's a lot of fattening stuff in it. And yeah, you love cake. Oh, well.
Cake, come on. We can't have, doesn't mean I don't conduct my life and eat properly and exercise properly and everything, but we all have our thing. Mine's cake. I love it. It's like in Portuguese, bolo. Yes, where?
All right, that's been an interesting conversation with you, Nalia. Thank you so very much for all that you've shared with us. She has said it all, viewers. You have work to do, especially the men, not only for women now. And we've also had a tip about men empowerment. I know something is going to come up around that so that you can begin to learn more about how to take care of your partner, how to take care of your spouse, because the journey in marriage is not supposed to be one-sided. So the way, especially for men in Africa, I'm talking to you now, that used to look at women and say, you're the one that's supposed to do this, you're the one that's supposed to keep this marriage going, and all the blame on women. This thing, we are in this together. So you're supposed to take care of each other together and not the other way around. Enolia has said a whole lot about this topic. It is time for you to take action, and let's begin to be more intentional about our love life so we'll have a very wonderful family. Keziah, over to you to close us out.
Wow, I can't believe it's almost time. That's all we can take in today's episode, wonderful people. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us. Like, share, and comment. We invite you all to join us, share our stories, because we share our stories such that people can rewrite theirs. I am a psychosocial counselor. Divorce was anathema to me until I started working with married couples. My mantra now is make it work or get out, because many people are losing their providential way because of dysfunctional marriages. Marriage is a beautiful thing. As to whether it will be a blessing or a burden depends on the two people in there. Don't take the side that you are the saint and your partner is the Satan. No. If you want to work things out, you can have a healthy and a functional relationship that will glorify God and give you joy. Don't stay in an abusive relationship. Don't accept all the indifference, the contempt, the aggression, and let the world see your public facade of a happy marriage. Your soul will bleed. And so we come your way again next week. I want to say thank you for finding time to watch and letting us know how you feel about this show. Much love and blessings. Thank you very much, Dr. Enolia, for your awesome presentation. My main host, Madam Shelley, the brain behind this. God bless you for all you do for humanity. God bless each and every one of us. Thank you all.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Keziah. Enolia, please, how can people contact you? Since we're supposed to ask you that before we close out, please quickly tell us how they can contact you, social media.
I'm on all of the social medias under Enolia or Enolia Empowers or Enolia Foti. I'm on all of the social medias, and my website is www.enolia.live, L-I-V-E. That's it. And so you can reach out to me via email through my website, and you have it.
All right. Thank you so very much, Enolia, once again. And bye-bye. Till we see you next week. Take care.
Right.
Bye.